Our story begins in 1960 with the formation of the Oakland Raiders. This remarkable team emerged as an integral part of the American Football League, marking the beginning of a journey that would redefine the landscape of American football. In the early days, the Raiders were like most fledgling teams, raw, unrefined, and facing an uphill battle in a league already brimming with formidable opponents. Their first 3 seasons were fraught with struggle as they grappled with the challenge of finding their footing on the gridiron. The team found itself constantly under the hammer, grappling with an underwhelming performance that put their survival into question. But every cloud has a silver lining, and for the Raiders, that silver lining came in the form of Al Davis. When Davis assumed the role of head coach in 1963, he brought with him a vision and a vigor that was a game changer for the struggling team. Davis was not just any coach. He was a man with a plan, a leader with a vision, and a strategist with an uncanny ability to read the game like few others could. His arrival marked a turning point for the Raiders. He reshaped the team's identity, instilling in them a winning mentality and a hunger for success. Under Davis's watchful eye, the Raiders began to metamorphose into a force to be reckoned with. His unique coaching style and innovative strategies breathed new life into the team, transforming them from underdogs to champions in the making. Davis was more than just a coach. He was the architect of the Raiders' future. His leadership, combined with his deep understanding of the game, propelled the Raiders out of their early struggles and onto a path of success. He was the catalyst that sparked the Raiders' ascension from obscurity to prominence, setting the stage for the glory years that were to follow. With Davis at the helm, the Raiders were ready to make their mark on the football world. The Raiders' first taste of glory came in the late 60s and early 70s. As the 1960s drew to a close, the Raiders were on the brink of greatness. The decade had been a roller coaster ride for the team, filled with highs and lows, but it was in 1967 when they claimed their first major success. The Raiders were crowned AFL champions, a victory that marked the beginning of a golden era for the team. The team's success was no fluke. The Raiders were bursting with talent. Players like Ken Stabler, Fred Biletnikoff, and Jack Tatum were not just key figures on the team, they were titans of the sport. Their names have become synonymous with the Raiders' legacy, and they remain iconic figures in the team's storied history. Ken Stabler, known as the Snake, was a wizard with the football. His uncanny ability to wriggle out of tight spots and make plays where others would falter earned him his moniker, and his leadership on the field was instrumental in the Raiders' success. Fred Biletnikoff, with his sticky fingers and knack for making the impossible catch, was a receiver like no other. His performances on the field were poetry in motion, a masterclass in skill and determination. Then there was Jack Tatum, the man they called the Assassin. His bone-crushing hits and unyielding defense were the stuff of legends. Opponents feared him, teammates admired him, and fans adored him. As the 70s rolled in, the Raiders continued to dominate. Their crowning glory came in 1976 when they won their first Super Bowl. The Raiders were unstoppable, a force to be reckoned with, proving themselves to be one of the most formidable teams in the NFL. These were the glory years for the Raiders, as they established themselves as one of the most formidable teams in the NFL. The 80s and 90s brought about a period of change for the Raiders. As the winds of change blew across the American landscape, so too did they sweep across the football field. The Raiders, a team that had already seen its fair share of ups and downs, found themselves caught in the whirlwind. In 1982, the Raiders embarked on a new journey, leaving the familiar terrain of Oakland for the glitz and glamour of Los Angeles. This move wasn't just about a change in location, it was about a shift in identity, a new chapter in the team's storied history. And it wasn't long before the move bore fruit. The following year, in 1983, the Raiders claimed the ultimate prize, winning the Super Bowl and etching their name in the annals of football greatness. However, like a roller coaster ride, the team's fortunes took a steep dive in the late 80s and 90s. The Raiders struggled to replicate their earlier successes, and the glory days seemed to be slipping away. The team returned to their original home in Oakland in 1995, hoping that a return to their roots would bring about a revival in their fortunes. But the struggles persisted. The Raiders found themselves in a rut, unable to reach the playoffs for several years. It was a challenging period, a time when the team had to dig deep and remind themselves of the resilience that had brought them so much success in the past. Yet through it all, the Raiders remained a beloved team. Their fans, a dedicated and passionate bunch, stuck with them through thick and thin. Because for these fans, the Raiders were more than just a football team. They represented a community, a sense of belonging, a shared love for the sport. And that's what kept them going. Despite these challenges, the Raiders remained a beloved team with a dedicated fan base. Even in the face of adversity, the spirit of the Raiders never wavered, a testament to the resilience and determination that has always defined this remarkable team. As the new millennium dawned, the Raiders were ready for a fresh start. The early 2000s saw a resurgence in their performance, with the team showcasing their prowess and determination on the field. Their hard work and relentless pursuit of victory found its reward in 2002 as they made their way to the Super Bowl, an event that made the world sit up and take notice of the Raiders once again. This was a testament to their enduring spirit, a tribute to their never-say-die attitude. But every journey has its ups and downs, and the Raiders were no exception. The latter part of the decade saw the team wrestle with challenges both on and off the field. The victories became fewer, the losses piled up, and the Raiders found themselves in a slump. It was a period of struggle, but it was also a period of resilience. The early 2010s further tested the team's mettle. The passing of Al Davis in 2011 marked the end of an era. Davis, who had been with the Raiders since their inception, was more than just the team's owner. He was their guiding light, their driving force. His loss was deeply felt throughout the Raider nation, but the Raiders, true to their spirit, did not let the adversity deter them. They faced the challenges head-on, remembering Davis's words, "Just win, baby." They pushed forward, their eyes set on the future, their hearts beating with the passion that has always defined them. They learned from their setbacks, took them in stride, and used them as stepping stones to improve. They worked harder, trained tougher, and emerged stronger. They continued to embody the very essence of what it means to be a Raider. Though they faced many obstacles, the Raiders never gave up, always striving to improve. Today, the Raiders are a team with a rich history and a bright future. A storied past and a promising horizon, that's where we find the Raiders in the here and now. The Raiders, a team that has weathered the storm of time and emerged stronger each time. In 2020, a significant change swept through the Raiders camp as they moved from their longtime home in Oakland, California, to the glitz and glamour of Las Vegas, Nevada. This was a move that was met with a mixed bag of emotions from the fan base, yet the Raiders took the change in stride, adapting to their new home with a resilience that's become synonymous with the team. Now, let's talk about the current roster. The Raiders are equipped with an array of talent that spans from seasoned veterans to young guns eager to leave their mark. With a blend of experience and youthful exuberance, the team demonstrates a balanced dynamism that keeps the opposition guessing. In recent years, the Raiders have had their fair share of triumphs and trials. They've had seasons where they've soared high, reaching the playoffs, and others where they've grappled with challenges. Nevertheless, these experiences have only served to strengthen their resolve, to push forward, to strive for greatness. Looking ahead, the Raiders are preparing for the future with a steadfast determination. They're making the necessary moves, drafting the right talent, and building a team that can overcome any challenge. They're not just playing for the present, they're building for the future, laying down the groundwork for a legacy that will stand the test of time. From their humble beginnings to their current status as one of the NFL's most well-known teams, the Raiders have proven that they are a force to be reckoned with. And as they continue to write their story, one thing is clear: the Raiders are here to stay. Their journey is a testament to their grit, their spirit, and their unwavering commitment to the game. And that, my friends, is the story of today's Raiders.